he's getting a bike.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. Well, listen, pal, I appreciate you taking the time, and I know I wasted like 10 minutes of your time because I couldn't figure this shit out. But
Hardly. Don't be silly.
no. But so yeah, we'll kick things off, mate. So first off, welcome to the Fitness Burrito Podcast. My name is Dan Q. I'm excited today. I've got a guy that I seem to have bumped into a few times way back when I started my PT training. I remember this guy used to be a beast in the gym. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited to have him. Yeah, he used to be. Yeah, no, he's still a beast. He's still a beast. I haven't seen him in a while, so I don't know. Can't assume, right? But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've got a guy, James Walker, on the podcast. So James, welcome to the Fitness Burrito. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, mate. So for anyone out there who hasn't listened to the podcast before, has no idea what the Fitness Burrito is because it's a weird name. I get it. It's all about just helping people practically apply information, whether it's nutrition, training, health and fitness, all of that jazz. So I thought I'd get James on because I think him and his business partner, I want to say, have been. How long have you guys been running Sustained Nutrition, James? Quite a bit.
Since 2016 now.
Cool, sweet. So yeah, you guys have been in the game for quite a bit already in Leeds, so in the UK. So James, if you don't mind, just giving the people a bit of an intro about yourself, that'd be awesome. Can be as long as you want, short as you want, mate.
Yeah, cool. You're gonna regret saying that? No. One half of Sustain Nutrition. So it's me and my business partner Joe Robinson. We set up Sustain when we were both kind of actively personal training. So I've been PTing since about 2004. So a bit of a salty dog. And we kind of set it up as a bit of a sideline, really, to kind of complement our PT business. And it was just because it was Joe's brainchild, really. And one of his friends was looking at losing weight, and he said, "You know what? It'd be good if someone could look at your food every single day." And that's kind of how Sustain was born. So it's just a ton of accountability, a ton of support. We speak to our clients every single day via video message, so we can kind of nip things in the bud. But the biggest aspect of it is more psychological than just the food part. The food part is easy. People know what they should be eating, know what they should really restrict, but it's looking at why you don't do that is the kind of the crux, and that's why we get such kind of life-changing results. It's just giving people the control, the support that they need to be able to go off the rest of their life. I don't want to answer too many questions that you've got for us already.
No, that's all right, mate. Go. I'm just gonna let you talk. I might as well not even be here, right? So.
But that's it. It was just a massive hole that we saw, and it started off, like I said, as a bit of an experiment. We worked with some ex-clients, we worked with some family friends for the first month, just checking in with our clients every single day, and the results just kind of blew our mind compared to even the results that we got from one-to-one personal training, where people were paying, for 1, 2, 3 sessions per week. It was just a massive difference. And then since then, it's just evolved to become the kind of the juggernaut that's taken over my life, which is Sustain Nutrition now.
Cool, man. So I've got a few questions, and again, I know we've got some stuff we'll cover, and if we cover it, we cover it. But first off, where'd the name come from? Because I feel like that whole Sustain Nutrition, people must be kicking themselves that they never picked that up. I think you guys got lucky with that one.
Nailed it. It was one of those. So we started. I think Joe came up with the idea in September. We said we were going to launch in October, so we had like a week to kind of get everything ready. Obviously, massive rush job like we normally do. And the first name we came up with was horrendous. It was called Real Results. Okay. And that just stunk. But it was one of those, like, we just need to get something. And then Joe had actually gone off to Oktoberfest, left me to sort it all out. And then, it just came, just one of those, like, Sustain Nutrition. It just makes sense because, and in fact, I do quite a lot of live videos, and I did one the other day saying I don't get my clients to get maximum fat loss over their 3-month or 6-month coaching plan. I'm not interested in people getting maximum results. If I want to do that, I would just smash the life out of them with cardio, smash them with weight training. I'd reduce the calories. I'd get them to follow a really strict diet. 12 weeks, give me your photos, on you go, there you go. That 3-month, that 6-month period that our clients work with us, I want to work on giving them the skills that they need to go off with the confidence that they can do this on their own, that they can go for a weekend away and be happy with the choices they're making, that they can go to a party and not stress out, they go to a barbecue and not think, what food's going to be there. So the coaching plan is all about developing the skills. And obviously people get a fantastic amount of weight loss as well. But for me, when someone comes back and says, I went to this party, I am 100% happy with the food choices I made. I enjoyed some cake, had some drinks, I had an amazing time, felt in control. That, for me, is worth more than any six pack or shredded glutes. So that's the kind of, sustained nutrition hopefully implies that this is nutrition that you will have for the rest of your life. Because it's one of those, if you're on a diet now and you can't see yourself eating that in 6 months' time, it's probably not the diet for you. It's, it's a temporary fix, like a shake diet. Don't get me started on those.
Yeah, you know what? That's awesome too. And it's awesome to hear other coaches. And I guess like obviously you guys are looking at it massively from a nutrition perspective, but it's just so nice to hear. It's refreshing because like you said, there's just so much bullshit out there. And it just seems like every year something else comes out and another celebrity is endorsing something. So that's awesome. That's kind of the same approach that I've been trying to take with some of my clients. And, Reese and I, another guy that I do some stuff with, we've really been trying to kind of just find ways of coaching it because like you said, I think a lot of it is psychological. And just on that point, mate, and again, we don't have to dive into it too much, but from when you started, which I think you said, was it 2012, Sustain Nutrition, right?
No, 2016 for Sustain.
Sorry, 2016. How big of a learning curve has that been on that kind of psychological thing? Like, what have you guys done? A lot of courses? Did you really start reading into books? And like, how big of a change do you feel like you've made over those kind of 4 or 5 years in that sense?
It's absolute kind of polar opposite from what we started off. The original plan was we have basically 10 calorie control habits. Before that, it was we call them the commandments, and it was just we were going too strict again. We fell into that trap of wanting to get people the best results possible. So we've just relaxed on that. And again, it's looking at the longevity of the plan. But for personal development, for me and Joe, it's been a massive journey into the kind of the coaching part of it. And again, the psychological aspect. I think the most overused and probably frustrating thing that people say is it's just calories in versus calories out. It's just, eat less, move more. That's the simplest thing. That's like saying to someone who has a drinking problem, just don't drink as much.
Yeah.
It's looking at the crux as to why do you, constantly overeat? Why can't you stick to something? Is it the wrong approach? Is it too restrictive? Is it a goal setting issue? Can you not see the bigger picture? So yeah, kind of like tons of courses, tons of books. I've got a couple down here that I'm reading at the moment. So we've got Mindset, Invaluable Laws to Growth, just constantly evolving ourselves. Like I said, the first time we did it, it was like super strict, like no carbs, no treats, eat your protein, eat your veg, do this, do that. And it just wasn't sustainable, ironically. And since then, we just kind of relaxed a little bit more. Like, if someone wants to go to the wedding anniversary and have steak and chips and a creme brulee and a glass of wine, that's cool. Go for it. But then we just got to be with possible outcomes. That's not going to be the best fat loss meal. So yeah, it's massively changed now, like our approach. And we have people who, started right at the day one and then they've come back because they got great results. And they're just like, this is just massively different to how you were before. This is, just huge shift into kind of more mindset stuff as opposed to just eat this, don't eat that. And that's what gets long-term results, is challenging those beliefs people have around food.
Yeah, big time. Big time. No, that's awesome. I just thought I'd ask the question because I always say to people like that just start PTing or start coaching, I'm just like, you just wait 3 years down the road when you kind of look back and go, Jesus Christ, I was fucking terrible. Like, what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. I remember some of my first sessions. Fucking hell. Excuse my language. Am I allowed to swear?
No. Yeah. It's I advertise this as like lightheartedness. I even chuck it on LinkedIn, which is probably not a great business decision, but whatever. But yeah, don't go for it.
Yeah. There's some of those when you just like you've planned your session out and you're like, I got 15 minutes left here. Like, okay, we're gonna do 1 minute plank, 1 minute off, 3 times. Just like, oh my god, what was I thinking? Well, I just be like, you know what? Let's just have a chat for the last 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Let's look at some issues. Let's look at some obstacles.
Literally, that probably would have helped massively.
Yeah, as opposed to just like, we're just gonna do some crunches, fill some time in. Like,
yeah,
nuts.
Oh well,
but yeah, it's always.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, if you're not growing, you know what I mean. If you're not learning from your mistakes, if you're still in the delivering the same sessions or have the same abilities that you did 3 years ago, then you're not doing something right.
Yeah, exactly, mate. No, that's spot on. But I think it's just good to hear kind of other people say that sometimes because, regardless if you're a coach, personal trainer, or if you're not, and you're just kind of listening, hopefully you're just looking at it and saying, oh, at least in the next 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, I'll look back and go, oh, wow, I've actually come pretty far. which is the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Sweet. So I guess we'll dive straight into it, because I know, like I said, I've sent you a few questions, and just off the back of what you just said, I think it's going to be a good podcast, and I'm kind of looking forward to your answers already. So the first one I want to kind of dive into was kind of like the common mistakes or barriers that you feel most people come up against when it comes to nutrition. And I know you just talked about, you know, people probably being too strict and having the wrong mindset, and just like how there's probably so many things attached to their food relationship. So what are kind of the common obstacles or barriers, mate, that you tend to see with your clients, or even just people starting off with Sustain?
Oh, it's 100% carbs. It's all carbs.
Really?
That's obvious. That is obviously a joke.
Might as well just leave. Let's just leave now. Let's call it a day.
Just stop eating carbs and you'll be fine. No, the biggest thing, and it's not a sexy thing, but it's just a huge thing, is consistency. It's people lack consistency for whatever reason that is. Now, the ones that we come up against, like I said, people being unrealistic with their approach. So this kind of January syndrome, like, I'm going to do 10 spin classes a week. I'm not going to eat any carbs. I'm not going to eat any fats. I'm going to go on shake diets, yada, yada, yada. So that's, an instant bar. You can't keep that up. Like I said, if you're following a diet that you can't see yourself eating in 6 months' time, stop doing it. They can't see the wood for the trees when people don't. I'm probably just going to go off on when this could be the end of the podcast.
No, that's all right. I like it. I'm learning new sayings too. Can't see the wood through the trees. Oh yeah, never heard that one.
I'll be full of them. People focusing on the minors of the majors. So people will be concerned, should I be eating couscous and blah, blah, when, they drink 2 bottles of wine over a weekend, and every time they get upset, they eat 500 calories worth of chocolate. That's another kind of huge obstacle we see, is people want a baddie, and that's, I suppose, kind of going to the carbs thing, is people want to go, I cut carbs and lost loads of weight. Well, technically you cut calories and that's it. It's just, you want to label carbs as being the baddie. But I think, the biggest thing is finding something that you can consistently do. And from our kind of client base, which is typically kind of 30 to 45-year-old busy working mums, they put so much pressure on themselves to be this perfect. Everything has to be perfect. The training has to be perfect. The diet has to be perfect. This kind of all or nothing mindset. And it's not about being all or nothing. It's about making improvements. It's about being a little bit better each time and making smart choices, but not just like, I've eaten 4 biscuits, this week's ruined. Just relax. Like, if everyone could relax, they could be consistent. And then you get people saying, can't be consistent. It's like, well, you can be consistently, make poor choices. So you can't be consistent. It's just you're trying to make the wrong choices. And that's when the kind of one-to-one coaching comes in, to see what fits the client, as opposed to just, here's a meal plan, here's some calories, knock yourself out, get back to me in 12 weeks' time, and, we'll see what results you've got.
Yeah. Why do you think, I guess it's probably expanding. Let's say you said women 30 to 45, because that's kind of like your target demographic, I guess, or people that you tend to work with more so. But why do you think people put so much pressure on themselves to feel like they have to go from 0 to 100 and they need to do this and they need to do that, rather than looking at it as like, okay, how can I enjoy what I'm doing and just enjoy the process? Because it just seems like you said, people just put so much pressure on themselves. Why do you think that is?
I think it's just been battered into us. People want nutrition to be black or white. This is good, this is bad. But there's so much grayscale in, can I like say to clients, like, you could have an amazing day's food and, lean protein and high fiber vegetables and complex carbohydrates and healthy fats and loads of water. And then if you eat 2 cookies, does that make it a bad day? Well, of course not, because if you had, McDonald's for breakfast and KFC for lunch and Pizza Hut for dinner, and then you had 2 apples, that wouldn't make it a good day. So people just want this kind of, like I said, this kind of goody baddie. This is good. I can eat as much of this as I want. This is bad. I can't eat this. When it's just all grey, and it's just that we are what we repeatedly do. I think it's an Aristotle quote. It's the more kind of good meals and good choices and sensible choices you put behind you, then the more you can get away with having a pizza, having a bottle of wine, having a few beers with your friends on a weekend. But I think people just want to go, I'm doing this right, this is wrong. And like I said, there's just so much in between there. It's the struggle to get that. And people are so used to, like, all right, keto, so if I eat carbs, that's it, I'm bad. Paleo, if I eat anything, grains, that's bad. Mm-hmm. It's just like not black and white. It's just finding what works for you. And again, it's, if you normally eat 2 pizzas on a Friday night, eat 1. There you go. Eat 1 on a salad. You know what I mean? And you're already improving. Like I say, you might not get the rapid results you feel you should get, but you're going to get results and you're always getting better and better. And it's going to be comfortable. It's got to be at a comfortable pace.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of when you start working with someone, how do you set expectations off the begin, like, from the beginning, or I guess, how do you guys set goals? What's that look like? Because ultimately we want to help people overcome that barrier of, it doesn't have to just be black or white, or this is good, this is bad. How do you guys kind of just start off? Like, just kind of walk through maybe a simple process that you guys do. I don't want you to, give all the golden nuggets, obviously.
Man, honestly, there's no secrets in this. There's no secrets. It's eat protein, eat vegetables, be full, be happy. It's all the other stuff that comes into it. So yeah, initially, we get our clients to fill out quite an extensive questionnaire, so we can kind of find out their short-term, SMART goals, their long-term goals, the previous diet history, when they were last happy, and kind of start coming over some real kind of common struggles that they have. Put a bit of emotion into the goals, but then we deeper and deeper into that, because generally people will come to us and be like, what's your goal? To lose a stone. Okay, not the most emotional goal, a very common one, but it's not going to drag you when you're struggling. It's not going to push you towards it when you're struggling. So we want to look deeper at that. Like, why is it so important for you to lose this stone? Because I'm not comfortable, I don't like how I look. Okay, so why is it so important that you look better? It's because I want to be able to walk into a room, feel comfortable, buy clothes from certain shops, not be conscious about people loving and ordering food. We're already digging deeper and deeper and getting into this emotional goal setting. So that's kind of one huge part of it. Then when we start the coaching process, so basically we start off, like I mentioned, with the 10 calorie control habits, which are real kind of loose parameters of how we want people to eat. And it's adding more nutritious food, lean proteins, vegetables, healthy fats, water, and then looking at kind of not eliminating, but restricting kind of refined carbs, processed foods, alcohol, stuff like that. So people will still drink, trust me. People will still have chocolate, people will still have ice cream. Yeah. We've just got to slightly restrict it, because it's, again, 99 out of 100 of our clients will not count calories throughout the entire journey and still drop, 1 stone, 2 stone. Because again, it's that consistency thing. So then I'm going to say kind of, what do you think is your biggest struggle? That's my day one question. What do you think is your biggest struggle that's either stopping you from losing weight or causing you to gain weight? And then we just start digging in from there, and you can start asking questions, and you can start, because you're seeing people's food diets every single day and you're kind of getting a bit of a mood logger from them. You can start seeing, all right, this person turns to food when they're sad, when they're lonely, when they're unhappy. And then we can start looking at, okay, so what's this trigger? What reward that we're looking for? Then we can start changing the action. So that's how it goes more into the psychological and building up the skill set. You're kind of leveling up the relationship with food. So I know, right, I've woken up, I'm feeling pretty sad, I'm pretty down. What's going to make me happy? Cocoa Pops. But I know that's my belief. My belief is that Cocoa Pops make me happy. But the reality is, I know 10 minutes after I've eaten that, I'm going to be really sad that I've fucked up my diet and I've eaten a lot of calories and I wish I hadn't done that. So then it's, how do I put that barrier? Like, do I do a little voice note? Do I write myself a physical note saying, James, you're feeling down. You think that this food choice is going to make you happy, but reality is it's going to make you feel worse. And I know this because I'm you in the future. So instead, put 3 of your favorite songs on in the kitchen, go have a dance, do whatever, go change your environment, go for a quick run, do something different. So that's kind of how we start working with our clients and figuring out how they can overcome their obstacles. But again, it's all very individual. What we might do if I'm feeling sad is going to be different to what my mum would do or my dad would do or my brother would do. And that's when it comes down to the kind of the individual coaching. But these are things that people have never done. You'll say to people like, I'm stressed out, so I got a bottle of wine. It's like, okay, so when you've been stressed out, what have you done to try and cope with this other than drink wine? Nothing. Cool. We've got a clean slate. Let's try this. And then, like I say, it's just building up those skills. And you know what? You might say, right, I want you to start meditating. Bit hippie-ish, but give it a shot, or like I say, do that 10-minute do your 10-minute disco, put some ABBA on, put some Wham on, whatever it is, whatever, kind of lifts your skirt. And they might do that. And they go like, you know what? That didn't work. I still drank some wine. It's like, all right, cool. So we know that doesn't work. Let's try something different next time. Let's do, kind of make sure we're recording 3 wins. And it's just building it up like that, basically. Hopefully
Awesome.
that answers your question.
Yeah. And actually, you kind of answered a few other questions I had, which was for somebody who's listening to that and they're going, all right, James, but like, I'm still going to fucking drink that wine, or I'm still going to have that beer. I'm still going to have the chocolate because that might not work for me. It's kind of then having that self-awareness and reflecting, going, okay, well, there's other options to help me now. Like, I think this is where potentially a lot of people and even a lot of coaches would go, oh, well, I tried basically my best trick and it didn't work. Okay. But there's other things out there. And I think that's what was cool that you mentioned is, yeah, we'll try one thing. And if that skill or that whatever tool or resource didn't work, then we'll find another one until it sticks. How do you find it hard for people to just stick to it though? Like, have you ever had clients that you try, 4 or 5 different things and they just keep saying it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work? Or do you find eventually you do find something that does work?
Yeah, I mean, the hard thing is getting people to engage in it because it is difficult. It's hard to look at where you normally mess up and kind of look at yourself in the mirror and just go like, why am I doing this? And again, it's nearly always comes down to a false belief in foods, and beliefs are just thoughts so strong that your behaviors conform to them. So you believe that this is going to happen. You might be you go into a situation like, oh, I'm a loser, and you believe that so much that you behave like that. Whereas if you go into that same situation, like, I am going to absolutely fucking smash this interview, you're more likely to do it. So it's just that perseverance. And again, if you want long-term change, you need to change these things because, it's not about changing your food choices. Like I said, it's not about just taking carbs out of your diet. It's about changing your mindset. And that's, one of the issues you see with kind of macro plans, set meal plans, shake diets and stuff like that, is there's no mindset change. So you shouldn't be surprised when you put all the weight back on because you've still got the same beliefs, you've still got the same habits, you've still got the same behaviors, and that's what needs to be changed.
Big time. That's probably one of the biggest things that I've learned over the last few years is that I didn't look at that enough. And like, even now, I'm sure you've read the Atomic Habits book and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Like just those books, you read it and you realize like, Jesus Christ, why didn't I read this before? Like, why didn't I dive into this rabbit hole before?
It's like, oh, I already knew that, but why am I not implementing it? And that's one of the things I really liked. I think my favorite bit from Atomic Habits is he says there's 2 people who are trying to stop smoking. They both get offered a cigarette. The first person says, no, thank you, I'm trying to quit. The other person says, no, thank you, I don't smoke. So the first person identifies as a smoker who's trying to quit, who's struggling to quit. And the second person just like, I do not smoke anymore. It's like, who is more likely to succeed? That person who's just, I don't do this. Another thing I've kind of said to clients is just fake it till you make it. Oh, you mentioned about goal setting. So I'll go off on one about this one for you now. You can have
That's all right.
A huge thing, I think, a huge revelation, like, again, with our target demographic, and a lot of people, is everyone gets so hung up on the end result. Want to be this way, or I want to lose this weight. And when you say, if you have a large amount of weight to lose, 1 stone, 2 stone, 3 stone, 4 stone, 10 stone, whatever it is, it can feel like it's a million miles away, or, you're in a pound time and it's so far away, it's difficult. It's almost like you're trying to climb a mountain and it just never seems to get any closer. So a big part of what we do with our clients is we set process-based goals. So it's what are the steps that are going to get you to the top of that mountain? It's like, right, well, I need to get to that ridgeway in the next, 90 minutes. That's my next goal. So I get there. And it's just that left foot, right foot. So it's like, right, where you're at right now. You know where your goal is. You know where you want to be. What does that person do that you don't do? And start doing that. So does that person consistently exercise? Yes, they go to the gym 3 times a week. Right, well, we need to start doing that, or at least twice a week. We can always step it up. Does that person, prep and plan their lunches and take them to work? Yes, right, then we need to start doing that. And then instead of you looking, right, am I 6 months in the future yet? You go, right, what do I need to do this week? Well, this week I need to have protein at 5 of my breakfast. This week I need to hit 70,000 steps in total. This week I need to hit 3 workouts. And it becomes just so much more of a positive journey. The problem with having an end goal is you can't be happy until you get there. Whereas if you set these little goals, I have to do this every single week. Did I do it? You know what? I worked out 4 times. Awesome. I hit 100,000 steps this week. Fantastic. It just becomes, you give yourself permission to be happy along the way. And again, you're getting the massive weight loss at the end is a side effect of you hitting this left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. And it's just a massive game changer. Especially if you have, if people are listening, if you get frustrated by I'm doing air quotes, lack of progress or slow progress, whatever. I don't know what people are comparing it to. You get people who lose 3 pounds a week. I know it's slow progress. Like, what are you talking about? So yes, process-based goals would be a huge game changer for me. And anyone who gets frustrated by their progress is concentrate on the journey. What do you need to do to get there? Make those your goals as opposed to just, I want X amount of weight.
Yeah, that is literally music to my ear, because that's exactly what we've been trying to preach with our clients, especially kind of since I've gotten back into coaching a bit more, because I took a bit of I wouldn't say time off, but I just wasn't really prioritizing it because like career wise things were kind of kicking off. So yeah, now when I work with my clients, is very much what you said: right foot, left foot. What does that person do that you currently don't do? That person you want to become, right? Is that whole
Yeah.
principle. And it does make it so much more enjoyable because, like you said, you don't kind of feel like you're letting yourself down if you don't lose 5 pounds here, 5 pounds there, if you're not, doing this or doing that. So it's just, yeah, it makes so much sense, doesn't it? You said one thing as well earlier, and I think a few people might have caught up or caught on to it when you said it probably about 5 minutes ago, was that a lot of your clients don't track. And I think a few people went, what? You don't track? What do you mean? Like, how am I supposed to know I'm in a deficit? So could you just elaborate on that quickly? What is it that they do? I know you said you have your 10 rules, but maybe kind of dive into a few more if that's all right.
Yeah, 100%. So what it is, oh God, I'll try and remember them now. Yes, I should know. We've changed them a few times. So the 10 kind of habits, the first 4 or the first 5 are things to do, things to add into your life. So it's eating protein at each meal. So we use like a real simple, you use your hands for portion sizes basically. So it's palm size and thickness portion protein. Obviously you can eat more if you want. So it's 3 servings of protein per day, a minimum of 2 servings of high fiber veg, minimum servings of 2 servings of healthy fats, around 2 liters of water. We do change that for people's body weight, and then logging you every single day. So just writing it down, not tracking it in MyFitnessPal, unless you really want to do that, but just logging down so you have an actual record of what you're doing. Then we've got avoid processed food, avoid refined carbs, avoid alcohol. I feel like I'm missing one. And then control your calories. So control your calories is one of those ones where people do like making stuff with ground almonds and peanut butter and bananas, the protein balls that are full of dates and cashew nuts and stuff like that, which have no protein and about 6 million calories. So the entire concept is you limit the amount of high calorie food that you're going to eat. So things like bread, pasta, the cake, biscuits, the typical things that people struggle to moderate. And because you're increasing the amount of lean protein, high fiber veg, complex carbohydrates, these things are just naturally very, very filling. So you think if you have a palm-sized and thickness portion of protein on your plate, you have a fist-sized portion of vegetables and a cupped handful of complex carbs, there's not a lot of room left on that plate. You're going to be pretty full if you consume those. So then if you want to have a couple of biscuits, cool, be less likely to over-consume those. So it's kind of increasing the nutrient density of your food. Like we get loads of clients who just go like, I feel like I'm eating so much more food, but I'm still losing weight. Because food eating, it's more satiating, it's going to stick in the stomach for longer, so it's going to be much more filling, and it's going to be less calorie dense. And you're controlling your blood sugar. Again, like I say, you're full, so you're not going to have cravings later on in the day. So it all kind of goes like a bit of a 1-2 kind of twofold attack onto basically. I think Joe loves quoting this one. 80% of kind of binges are caused by hunger or low blood sugar. So if you're making sure that your blood sugars are stable and you're full, you're going to be less likely to eat crap or want to eat crap. And it's that thing, it's very hard to eat 1,000 calories of roast chicken, eat a full roast chicken. It's very easy to eat 1,000 calories of biscuits. No one ever eats 1,000 calories of biscuits and goes, oh my God, I'm absolutely stuffed. I couldn't eat another one. You might feel sick, stop for 3 minutes, then go back into it.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking from previous experience. But if you said to someone, right, eat that full chicken, you'd be like, what? You can eat 3,000 calories from a Domino's pizza, eat 3,000 calories from steak, a baked sweet potato and broccoli. Good luck.
Yeah.
You're probably going to explode. So it's just really putting the emphasis on nutrient density and then controlling the high calorie stuff. And that's how, people just create a deficit. Yeah, we might not know some days. And then just with the coaching, it's the other bit, where someone goes like, right, I had, pork sausages, bacon, avocado, and poached eggs for breakfast. You're like, look, great work on the protein. However, we've got a lot of fat going on there. We need to be conscious that this is and it might, you might get away with it. We might look for balance across the rest of the day. We can balance it across the week, but it's definitely something to be conscious of. Maybe we'll go for turkey sausage, get the lean bacon, and then you can keep the eggs and keep the avocado. And it's just little tips like that people might not know that we can give them, and then moving forward, like, right, this has got high fat in, so I'm going to go for a lean protein source. So it's just kind of bits and bats that our clients pick up, and again, like I said, level up their skills so they can go off and do it on their own.
Yeah, no, definitely. That sounds great. And a lot of it too comes probably back to, because they're having coaching calls with you, it's probably similar to when I have coaching calls with, well, might not be similar, but when you have coaching calls with my clients and stuff, I always kind of try to make them more self-aware, right? And it's probably like, I had, like you said, sausages and bacon and toast and peanut butter and all this stuff. You're like, okay, cool. Yeah, great. But it's probably about 1,500 calories on that plate because you went in. So it's just making them more self-aware and go, oh, okay, I get it now. Like there's fat in this and stuff. So ultimately you're just educating them to know what you know, right? And I think that's where sometimes I think we might miss the ball a bit there. I think we probably covered a bit on this next question too, but what are some of the big myths that you get with your clients starting off? I know you said carbs at the beginning, but what are some of the real, just common ones that you seem to always come up against?
Carbs is the big one. When people just come to me and just say, like, I have a problem with carbs, you're like, all right, so you're overeating on oats and sweet potato and white potato and rice. Like, no, bread, chocolate, crisps, sweets. Like, so these are very specific foods. They're not carbohydrates. Again, the kind of analogy I use is like, if I said to you, like, oh my God, I've been absolutely smashing the protein and I've gained 2 stone over the last 2 months. I'm eating too much protein. And you said, all right, what are you eating? I'm like, I'm eating KFC every single day. That wouldn't be me over consuming protein. That would be me over consuming a very specific food that's deep fried. So it's look at the actual food. There's no food that's good or bad. Food doesn't have a moral compass. It's all just putting out those calories. So yeah, I think carbs is a big one. Again, it's that idea that sorry, my child's crying downstairs.
No, it's all right.
If you're perfectly cute on cue, if you remove carbs, obviously you drop a lot of water weight, but you also drastically reduce your calories. And also, no doubt, a lot of the foods that you overconsume, like bread, biscuits, crisps, chocolate, etc., you're classing as carbs. So it's not just like, I can never eat carbs or I have a problem with carbs. It's like, no, you have a problem with specific foods. You can address those. You can still eat rice, you can still eat oats, you can still eat potato. It's looking at the specifics of where you're going wrong.
Yeah.
Do you get
the other extreme? Like, do you get people that just come in and say, "Oh, fats are bad for me," as well?
Well, yeah, sometimes. I mean, because we're dealing with, like I say, the kind of people that we deal with have usually been around the mill a bit, kind of done like a lot of different diets, like a lot of crazy approaches. So it's kind of kicking the shit out of those myths, really, and just going, look, you know what, you can do this and you can do that, and don't worry about it. It's nothing detrimental. It's nothing bad. So don't panic. So it's a lot of kind of individual kind of the myth busters, and yeah, people just thinking, I can't do this, I can't do that. And, obviously the menopause and slow thyroids and all these kind of things that we come up against as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you find, one thing I've noticed, like, especially with a few clients recently, is do you get some clients that they're quite, I don't want to say stubborn, it's not the right word, but they're quite deep rooted in their thoughts around that topic. And you have to almost kind of prove it to them and like show them evidence at times. I've had a few of them.
I think kind of touching on what I said before is people want a kind of a baddie. They don't want to hear it's just as simple as, we need to tidy up your food choices. We need to do this. It's like, oh, I've got this and I've got that. And, oh, well, I've got bad ankles, so I can't exercise. That's cool. Unless those ankles are stopping you from getting to the fridge, that's probably not, the issue. So yeah, some people, again, it kind of comes down to stories. People have these stories, and it's very similar to beliefs. People are like, so this won't work for me because, well, I'm a very slow loser. I gain weight easily. All these kind of little stories that go wrong, and again, you start to kind of conform. That's kind of my favorite one, is when people you can see that they're not fully engaged with it, but there's definitely work that they could do if they wanted to increase their fat loss. And they just go, well, this is just me. I'm a slow loser. It's like, honestly, if you got stuck down a well with a broken leg and someone left you for a month, you wouldn't just lose 4 pounds. You'd hemorrhage weight. There's more work that we can do here. So yeah, it's again, a part of the coaching is challenging the beliefs, challenging these justifications that sometimes people have. Like, there was nothing else I could do. Like, okay, not a problem, but really, You sure? And it's not me being militant. Again, I'm happy. If my clients are totally happy with their food choices, then I'm 100% happy with them. As long as, we sometimes have to give them a bit of a reality check. Some people are like, oh, I'm happy with this, I'm happy with that. And we're all for getting our clients to kind of, consciously eat treats and high calorie foods and schedule them in. But then there needs to be a reality there as well. It's not like, if I'm going to have, 3 meals out a week and I'm going to drink this and do that, and, these are things that I need, and then you've got to expect your progress to reflect that and not think, well, I'm going to get the same results as an Olympic athlete who's training 6 hours a day and got, the world's best genetics, like literally the best genetics.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bit of a reality check sometimes as well for people.
Yeah, I think people need tough love. One thing I've been trying to, off the back of Eric Helms' books and stuff that I've read throughout lockdown, is the whole idea of like flexibility versus accuracy, and looking at, I think, not necessarily food, but for the most part, it relates to that is, if you want a whole bunch of flexibility within your diet, then you're probably not going to be expecting the best accuracy in terms of your results and your scales, right? At times. And I think, like, I always give the example of, the average Joe who wants to go out and party every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then he's wondering why he's not getting great gains or great results, and he's not sleeping. And then you've got the bodybuilder who's just like crazy accurate chicken, broccoli, rice with every meal. He's getting shredded because there's two ends to it, right? And some people, I think, for the most part, want to be in that middle. And it's kind of how we help. And I think, again, to your point, the psychological, the emotions, the behaviors is where we probably, again, don't spend enough time with people. So hopefully, big takeaways from just so far on the podcast, guys, is, you probably have to dig deep a bit, get a bit emotional, and just kind of really be honest with yourself, and then find somebody who can really help you build those skills up, to James's point, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You have to get uncomfortable. You want these goals to be tear jerkers. It's not just about, I want to get a six pack. You got to look beyond that. Okay, so what would that six pack bring to your life? Is it really what you want? Will that give you more confidence? Will you'll act more attractive? You'll feel more sexy, or sexier. I think that's terrible English. But it's just looking again. We kind of do that thing where you set your goal and you go, why is this important? You just keep on asking why and why and why until you get deep down to it. So one of the exercises I did with some of our clients, where I set my goals and I said, this is my goal. And then we went down about 5 or 6 levels. And then it came, all my goals are kind of based around me being fit and healthy for my son growing up. Because that's a huge thing. Like, I don't want to be a burden on my family. I want to stay as strong as possible, as mobile as possible, be as healthy as possible for as long as possible. Because, I don't want my son to have to look after me. I've experienced that with my family. And then that's just like, oh shit, do I really want to eat this cheesecake? Can I really not be bothered to cook my dinner now? No, because everything I do now, and again, this kind of comes into looking beyond, don't look for just at today, look at tomorrow. Everything I do now goes into my fitness pension, so it's going to be too late when I'm 70 to go, oh shit, I should start lifting weights now. I should start working on my mobility now. I should, keep flexible. I should keep my cardio up. I should eat better now. I've got, 20, 30 years of doing that now. So that pays off for me into the future. And again, what kind of example do I want to, I've got a bit deep now. What kind of an example do I want to set to my kids? It did, again, like kind of one of the videos I did, like kind of where you keep your eggs could be messing up your kid's life. Obviously a bit of a clickbait title, but I was saying I keep my eggs in the fridge because that's what my parents did. Even though you go to the supermarket and they're not refrigerated, some people don't keep them there. But it's just that kind of, what are my kids or what are your kids picking up from the habits, behaviors, the coping mechanisms, the choices that you make, and do you want them reflected in you? Again, because we deal with a lot of mums, this really hits home to them. You get a thing like, oh, dinner, I just couldn't be bothered, I had toast and peanut butter, I had cake for breakfast, I had someone the other day. Okay, no worries. Would you be happy with your kids eating cake for breakfast, or would you insist that they ate something more nutritious? Of course, I'd insist they ate something more nutritious. Then show them that. Then kind of why do you think that's all right for you? But you would not dream of letting your kids do it. So I think, yeah, it's again, and that goes, do I just want to lose a stone, or do I want to be an awesome role model towards my kids? Do I want to be fit and healthy into my later life, so I'm not up to them, so I can play with my grandkids, so I can do this and do that? That's like night and day for goal setting. Same goal, weight loss, completely different motivation.
Yeah, no, I think, mate, that was probably something that a lot of people need to hear, because I think a lot of like your clients and even potential clients or people that are struggling out there are like they're probably not used to hearing coaches say that. And I've
Mm.
recently kind of started to not necessarily share my story, it sounds cheesy, but just kind of explain to people that like, look, I moved over from Canada with basically like a bit of cash in the bank and kind of made something happen for myself in the UK, and it took some time and I hit rock bottom and blah blah blah. People need to hear that shit. And ultimately it's like you said, you are your actions, aren't you? And I think it's a
Yeah.
really good piece of advice to say, you know, you wouldn't let your child do that. You wouldn't let people you love do that. So why are you doing that to yourself? And ultimately finding that motivation, that kind of like intrinsic motivation, which is just like, inside of you, which is another way of saying it, um, is huge for people. And I think a lot of people don't even know what that is until you break them down. And to your point again, you find those levels of why, which is something that, again, I used to be so bad at when I started coaching.
Oh
And
yeah,
now,
same here. And
yeah. And now you
just
just,
knew nothing about it.
yeah, exactly.
You just, what's your goal? I want to lose weight, right? Cool. Yeah, I can help you do that. There's no kind of like, well, why? Why do you want to lose weight? Why is that so important to you? What can we use that's going to be, you've got push and pull goals or push and pull motivators, sorry. So it's like, what do you want to move towards, but what do you want to move away from? And it depends on the individual as to kind of which one's more motivating. Like I'm quite good at, getting away from negativity. The only problem is obviously, when people go like, oh, I just need to be motivated, you're the most motivated when you feel the worst. So when you're in the worst shape, when your relationship is going to shit, that's when you're most motivated, or if you want to keep it, to work harder at it. If you think you're going to get sacked, then you're going to work harder. When everything's going all right, you're probably just going to coast. So that's where you need those kind of push pulls. And I can kind of look at myself and let myself go and just go, fucking hell, James, you've done it again.
Hmm.
Let's get moving. So yeah, it's just kind of looking at what motivates the individual, but definitely just digging deep into that why. So many people just go, want weight loss or fat loss, whatever you want to call it. Weight loss is kind of the very common one, but we all know it's me fat loss. But you just go, all right, cool, hit this many calories, you'll lose weight. Why is this fucking so important to you? Kind of what's the end result? What's the big goal? It's always to be happy. That's it. I remember
Yeah.
someone said to me before, like, no one wakes up and goes, I want to get a PT. You don't want a PT, you want the end result. The end result will be that you'll lose weight, you'll get in better shape. But what's the end result of that? Because you believe that will make you happy.
Yeah.
So happiness is always the end result.
Yeah, big time. And I think that's the difference between, I think a lot of people who struggle to go, well, what's it matter if I do this today because I'm not going to see it tomorrow, versus the people that realize, well, no, it's the whole process. And that's when, if you can really break that down, if you took one thing away from this goddamn podcast today, is figure out what makes you tick and find your why. Like we use that saying a lot recently, and yeah, just find out what your why is. And then if you need a coach to just help you do that, then, well, James seems like he's pretty goddamn good at it, so we'll give him a shot. So
I'll
no,
give
that
it a
was,
shot.
yeah, that was good, mate. That was really good. I threw in a few random questions here as well, and again, this might be kind of side little tangents, but I wanted to know what your thoughts were, especially after you kind of talk about your 10 rules, 10 commandments and stuff. Kind of like your thoughts on people that really like intermittent fasting or doing keto diets or doing all these kind of diets that some people might consider fads. But do you or any of your clients kind of use these, and do you support them? Or are you kind of just like, look, whatever makes you happy?
Yeah, it's 100% whatever fits your lifestyle. If you don't like eating breakfast, guess what? Don't eat breakfast. There's no benefits you force feeding yourself. It doesn't kickstart your metabolism. You're not going to go into starvation mode. So if you want to skip breakfast, cool. The only issue would be is if someone skips breakfast, it leads to piss poor choices for the rest of the day because they're hungry. Some people are fine kind of doing a bit of a fast. Other people, Joe's got a really good example. He said, like, if you imagine you're stuck in like a conference, something like that for 6 hours, then you come out, you're starving. There's 2 tables set up. One of them set up and it's all lean proteins and vegetables and fruits. The other one's all donuts and pastries and stuff like that. Which one are you more likely to go to? If it's a pastries one, then fasting is probably not for you. I think like saying, if people don't like eating carbs or they want to go keto and it fits them and they can do it, then again, we don't get people to fit around a diet plan. We get the diet plan or the plan to fit around them, and that's the difference. And that's we kind of cookie cutter plans. Sharon, who's, kind of 46 from Liverpool, who's a working single mum with a dog, needs a very different advice. And she's got a history. She's been dieting for 30 years. She's always struggled with her weight, and she doesn't like going to the gym. She needs very different advice and a very different approach to, Stacey, who's 27, who loves going to the gym, does CrossFit 6 times a week, has never dieted before, wants to get in shape for her holidays. So it's always going to be down kind of to the individual, what fits them really. So yeah, if someone wants to do keto, cool. If someone wants to do fasting, cool. As long as it fits them and it's not a massive struggle for them. But there's no benefits over it. The kind of issue comes in when people go like, well, if I'm fasting, then I can eat what I want. 100% not. If I'm keto, I can eat as many fats as I want. 100% not. All diets work. Calorie deficit. Consistent calorie deficit. It's what you can do consistently, whether that's paleo, whatever. Name a diet. Insert diet here. It's just whatever's going to fit the individual. I've got some clients who are doing Weight Watchers still. I've got some clients who will skip breakfast, and then they can eat more calories later in the day. It's just find what works for them. Sometimes I'll fast on the morning, sometimes I won't. It just depends if I wake up hungry. It's not like, oh, I've broken my fast, that's it, this day's ruined. Like, nope.
Yeah, no, that's
just
really
don't
good.
eat like a 7-year-old.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice, I think, because I think that's one thing as well that even, again, just being honest, like when I first started coaching, I was like, why the hell would you ever do those kind of things? But then I realized, to your point, and like we've just been saying, look, if it makes you happy and it fits your lifestyle rather than the other way around, then 100% go for it. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't do keto. I haven't really tried, so maybe I could, but I can't see it, right? But then again, sometimes I intermittent fast and sometimes I don't. I think it just depends again on what you enjoy and to the beautifully named company if it sustains, right? If it's sustainable, sustain nutrition.
100%.
There you go. So no, that's awesome, man. That's good. And I think, again, because we've covered this so much already, what would just be the first thing, like for anybody listening out there who just wants to start, what would be like just the first thing you would recommend they do? Like if they want to lose weight sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to say, just write down your food every single day. Write down exactly what you eat, what you drink. You don't have to weigh it. You can just guess. But write that down. Write how you feel about it. Write down if you had it as an emotional response. And then that way you've got something where you can look and see what you're doing. Because again, kind of going back to PT, and you see a client once a week. How's your food been? Yeah, it's been pretty good. You remember the highlights. You remember the good bits, like a relationship, like an ex. You remember all the good bits. You don't remember all the shitty bits, all the shitty arguments. So you don't remember that muffin that you had on Tuesday. You don't remember those couple of slices of pizza you had on Thursday afternoon. You don't remember, the 6 beers you had on Friday. So once you've got that log, you can start looking at what am I doing? And then it's just kind of picking apart and going, right, which bits of these high-calorie foods are adding to my life and which bits are taken away? Nothing I like more, like I said, kind of right at the start, is nothing like more than one of my clients going, you know what, my son baked for me. We sat down in the garden and we ate, one of the muffins that he baked for me. It was absolutely delicious. I really enjoyed it. I fucking love that. That's what it should be. It shouldn't be like, I ate a muffin, I feel so guilty. That's a moment, that's a memory that you're creating with your kids. Or, having a pizza night that you have every single weekend or whatever. Those are the things you want to keep. What you want to get rid of is the 2 Kit Kat Chunkies that you had on Tuesday because you were pissed off because Sharon in HR said something snidey to you or didn't wash up a cup or something like that. It's getting rid of that takeaway that you had on Wednesday night because you couldn't be bothered to cook because you got in late. It's getting rid of the 2 glasses of wine that you had to de-stress because you'd had a row with your partner. Get rid of those calories that don't count, and then you can keep the ones that do, the things that actually add to your life. Having, like I say, a slice of birthday cake, going for a barbecue and not worrying about it. But you're only going to be able to do that by eliminating all those shitty calories. So keeping some kind of log, and like I said, you can write it in your phone, you can write it in an actual notebook, but just start logging your food, and you could go, right, I had a smoothie for breakfast, I had soup for lunch, and I was absolutely fucking starving. So when I did the same kind of, I ate a lot of shit. I got in, I hadn't cooked dinner, I ate 2 packets of crisps, I had 4 biscuits, then I had my dinner. All right, well, cool. That's because you had, a liquid lunch and a liquid breakfast. So let's change those meals. Let's have something that's going to stay in your stomach. Let's have something you actually chew. But until you have that kind of log, that record, and again, it's something that people just don't do. People just think, I'm going on a diet, right? Salad, soup, shake.
Yeah.
Like the least satiating foods ever. Like you want to get as much bang for the buck. So unless you have this record, you can't see what's going on. You can't see what's going wrong. And like I said before, like 80% of binges, low blood sugar, hunger. So if you're eating nothing, you're just relying on willpower, which like motivation will never ever last.
You know what? I think the other thing I want to add to that, because I was thinking about it as you were explaining it, and it sounds so simple, right? But if you do what James just talked about, you write all your food down and then you highlight what brings value to your life, right? And what maybe kind of like takes away value. And we're not looking at it in terms of bad or good food here. We're looking at it in terms of why is that food incorporated into your diet? And I think that opens up a whole different can of worms. And then you can start, especially if you have a coach down the road, if you do, you go, okay, well, I'm actually stressed out here. And that's what's causing me to have that cue, which is making me take that action, which is causing that reward. And that becomes a habit. And it's those conversations that come out of even just writing things down, which is actually like really, really easy. And obviously you might not realize that right away, but the more you write things down, the more you look at it, the more you find patterns and you go, I just need to stop talking to Sharon and HR all the time because fuck, every time I do, I'm eating chocolate, right? And it's like, It sounds so simple, but yet it's so effective, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, something I kind of touched on earlier is that belief around food. You know, we have people who are, you know, they send the most emotive questionnaires through about how they feel, you know, not wanting to get undressed in front of the partners, not wanting to be in photos, not wanting to take the kids swimming because they're so self-conscious about the body. And then they're just like, but I have to eat chocolate every day. I have to eat, you know, this and that every day because I love it. And it's like, but, you know, or they'll call it a treat or a reward or something like that. It's like, okay, but this treat, this thing that you class as a treat, this thing that you hold so dearly in your life is 100% the thing that is making you feel terrible. That's the thing that is keeping you where you're at right now. It's just such a false belief. And again, until you get someone to question it and go, but is that really true? Like, does chocolate really add so much to your life? Have you ever tried a period where you've not eaten chocolate and seen, you know, if your life is ever negatively affected? Now, Joe did this for a full year. In fact, he's still doing it now. Joe really struggles to moderate chocolate. And he said, you know, he found out every time he was going to the supermarket, he's like, I'll just have a little bit. And he couldn't moderate it. He'd eat loads. Then he'd regret it. And he thought that chocolate brought him so much pleasure. So he was like, you know what? For a year, I'm not going to eat any chocolate. And he did it. And he banged on about it like every single week he told me about it. But his life was in no way whatsoever negatively affected. In fact, he got a bit leaner because he wasn't eating as much chocolate. And then when he went back to it, you know, on the year anniversary, I think he had some chocolate cakes and brownies. He's like, you know what? Just not missed it at all. He's not eaten any since. But, you know, for his entire adult life or something, he's been eating chocolate like nearly every single day. And it took him to challenge and go like, does this really add to my life? To take it away and just go, no, it didn't. So I would say if you've got these foods, these really high calorie foods, these really highly palatable foods that you struggle to moderate, just stop eating them and just see, you know, and if your life is ruined because you didn't have chocolate for 3 days out of a week, then just keep eating it.
Yeah.
But odds are it's not going to be true. Yeah. You know, again, I'm nearly finished.
No, it's all right. I like it. I like it.
What, you know, our clients will often say, like, you know, they'll come through and they're like, really, really happy. I chose not to have the donuts. You know, like my partner offered me donuts. I chose not to have it. So the following day we get the fairies, you know, we video messaging back and say like, okay, any regrets not having it at all? They'd be like, no, I'm so happy that I didn't. I was like, right, well, you got two huge wins there. One, you've proven that you don't have to eat the donut. And two, you've proven that actually you feel so much better having not eaten it. And that's some real positive evidence that belief that, oh, I love eating donuts, is actually not true, because actually you love not eating them more because you're getting closer to your goals. So again, it's just changing beliefs, changing mindset, leveling up that relationship. Yeah, it's all part of what we do here at Sustain Nutrition.
Level up, level up, level up. A whole bunch of leveling up happening. No, I like it, man. That's really good, and it's very simple, and it's practical and it's applicable, right? Like a lot of what we're talking about today, and a lot of what James has just kind of dropped on the podcast. You know, some of it is rocket science. Don't get me wrong. Like the psychology like part of it. Like not everybody knows what James knows, but for the most part, a lot of people know that these choices are going to help them, right? It's just they don't know basically all the underlying issues that they have to change, which is where you come in and where Joe comes in, which is awesome to hear. No, mate, that's good. You can go on tangents any day. You just do what you got to do. And so I always do a flavor of the week segment. And to be honest, I wasn't really sure if like you guys were, you know, journal article readers, and if you really give a shit about evidence-based stuff. And I just kind of threw some stuff onto like, it's nutrition related. So we're just going to skim through this one, and I'm just going to get your thoughts on it really. So the flavor of the week segment, we always just kind of like talk about either something specific to the person or the brand, or I'll usually just pick a random journal article. And what I pulled up recently was, and I can't even pronounce this word, so you're gonna have to help me out here. I was trying to figure it out earlier. I had like when your computer can literally read it for you, and I was like, how does that pronounce? So basically, it's just like the component of hot like peppers, right? And I think it's capsicum. Is that how you say it?
Capsicum.
Yeah.
Capsicum, I think it is.
Yeah. So basically, again, just long story short, we don't have to go into crazy detail, but have you heard of capsicum or capsicanoid, or just kind of the, I guess like the fundamental component of like hot peppers and how they could potentially improve strength gains, which sounds crazy, but have you heard of that?
I can't say I have. No, actually, I tried to log on to it, but it made me put some login details. So I didn't end up looking at the article. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, it's all right. I realized after I sent that to you, there's probably no way you could actually access it. So it's cool. You're just going to have to trust me on this one, James.
I'll roll with it. Yeah. I'll back you up.
Yeah, so basically, it's kind of cool, and it's probably going to benefit your training and maybe Joe's training a bit more, and some of the clients that are a bit more performance based. But basically, what a study group did is, and this is the second time they've demonstrated that if you are supplementing capsicanoid, however you pronounce it, and what they've done is they supplemented 12 milligrams 45 minutes before a workout, and then right before a workout. And what they've done is they've made people run a 5K run, and then they've made them do 4 sets of squats till failure. And what they've shown is the group that took this 12 milligram of capsicanoid, which is basically just an extract of this pepper, versus the people that don't and just took a placebo, that they were able to increase the volume output and ultimately just kind of get more out of their workouts. And also people felt like they weren't working as hard, which is quite interesting. And it's kind of similar to, I guess, what caffeine does with people, which is people feel like they're a bit more pumped up and they can get more out of their workouts, and they might actually feel like their workouts aren't as difficult. So yeah, that was pretty much in a nutshell what I sent you that you couldn't read, mate. But kind of like, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that, just by my pretty swift summary?
I'd say it makes sense, because it sounds like, any kind of like chili hot pepper thing is going to be more of a stimulant base. So I can certainly believe that it would help. With the fiery chilies, like something from a cartoon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see it. Again, I can see it. It's one of those where, like I said, it's going to apply to a very small, possibly demographic of gym goers who want to increase performance as opposed to just want to look better.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of your clients that, if you end up speaking to them about this podcast or they listen to it, it's probably not going to be very applicable to them. So it's all good. Just let them know that if they do happen to have like a pretty hot curry with a few peppers in there, maybe before a workout, that it might potentially get them a few more reps on that squat. So, hey, that's pretty much.
Smash a bit of hot sauce in your pre-workout.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's cool. It's only one of like 2 or 3 studies. There's a whole bunch more that needs to come out. Like anything else, people always come out with, some stuff, and it has to be replicated and just make sure that it's legit. So yeah, that's the flavor of the week. But to be honest, I almost skipped this part because everything that you've talked about for the last kind of hour has been absolute gold. And I think it's going to help so many people, mate. So I really appreciate that. And for anybody out there who's been listening and hopefully listens throughout, look, we're just normal people. Like James's kids having a tantrum back there. I had the dog in the garden going off. Like, yeah, man, it's just lockdown life, right? So, so as always, mate, I always kind of let the guests do a bit of an outro. So, mate, where can people find you? Where are you at? Where are you based? Socials, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, we're 100% online. We are, local Leeds lads. But we've got clients all over the world, speaking to my client from Canada, people in Italy, also all over. You can find us on Facebook. That's kind of where we're most active, Sustain Nutrition. Instagram, sustain_nutri. www.sustainnutrition.co.uk. You can download free training plan, cookbook, 35 rules to easy weight loss, or just drop us a message. Feel free to email me, james@sustainnutrition.co.uk, and I'll happily, have a bit of a chat with you, a bit of a back and forth if you're struggling, and just let us know. We'll try and come up with some way of helping you.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Well, as always, massive thank you to our guest. This time was James Walker from Sustain Nutrition. My name is Dan Kirion. Always getting butchered last name. It's Kirion, not Quirion. Just call me Dan Q. You can find me at Bonte Performance, so ABANTE Performance. Pretty much just put an @ sign in front of that. You'll find me on most socials. I tried to do the whole TikTok thing, but it's not working out so well. And just look, massive thanks to James again. All the info for his socials and stuff will be in the show notes. So massive thanks, James. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Dan. Been a pleasure.